Why don't we all see life the same way? Why are there so many philosophies and religions that confront the same questions but answer them so differently? Sometimes it's pretty confusing listening to all the views people have about the ultimate questions of life. And they're more than opinions. They are convictions that people live for and sometimes die for. How do we sort through all these views so that they make sense? All of these perspectives arise from what is called a worldview. Now, worldview sounds like a head game, I know, but it's not. Our worldview orients us to life. It's something we do without really thinking too much about it. Life sometimes can seem like chaos. I'm standing here and looking at this view. It's a bit chaotic. Big business buildings here, housing, apartments there, retail, government. It's easy to get lost in the city. There doesn't seem to be much rhyme and reason. But when you look at a map, then you can see where you are and what you need to do to get where you want to go. It's what your worldview does. It's the map that you've drawn for the world that shows where you are and where you want to go. It's the contacts that you wear that focuses everything that you see. It's the picture on top of the jigsaw puzzle box that shows you how all the pieces in the box fit together. The pieces of your life fit together as well. Our worldview is a story. The story of how our life fits into the big story. That's why we like stories so much. We want to get insight into the stories of others while we try to figure out our own. Great classic movies stir us because of the connection with ultimate issues in the story. Movies like Casablanca and Gone with the Wind, Star Wars, Rocky, Braveheart, The Matrix, The Lord of the Rings. Now you may be saying, well, if worldviews are so important, I need to get me a worldview. Well, actually, you already have one. You see it in action all the time. Most of the choices you make come from your worldview. Do you go to church? Do you pray? These reflect your worldview. What about marriage? What about sex? Believe it or not, these are all part of your worldview too. Is it okay to lie and to cheat if you don't get caught? Another worldview question. Where did everything come from? Is there a God who created everything, or did everything just happen? More worldview questions. What happens to you if you died today? Again, your worldview determines what you believe about this. Now, let me give you a description of a worldview. It is, first of all, your explanation and interpretation of the world, and second, your application of this view to life. Well, let's break this down a bit. First, your explanation of the world. It's how you answer the ultimate questions of life. It's your map of how everything got here and how you fit in and where everything is going. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But it's really not. That's actually a pretty full description of a worldview. You see how this explanation of the world can guide you in what's important in life? As a result, it's your interpretation of the world. Whatever happens in your life or goes on in the world around you, you see through the lens of your worldview. People can actually see the same event and interpret it differently, depending upon their worldview. Now, it's more than your view of the world. Your worldview is also your view for the world. It does more than explain and interpret the world around you. It then directs how you live. You apply your worldview to your decisions and your actions all day long. You may not live what you profess, but you will live what you believe. It's inevitable. Now, think for a moment how the values and behaviors of an atheist, a Buddhist, and a Christian are all different. Well, let's go back to the ultimate questions. You can tell what a person's worldview is by how they answer the ultimate questions. For example, take the question of destiny. What happens when we die? People will give you all kinds of answers. You go to heaven, you come back as another person, you are gone, or really gone. Each of these reflects the way a person sees the world, and it affects the way you live your life. Most people will fall into one of three categories: naturalism, transcendentalism, or theism. Naturalism is the group of worldviews that believe that the universe is entirely physical. There's no God, no spirits. Everything is natural, nothing is supernatural. Everything is physical, nothing is metaphysical. You are merely an episode between two oblivions. The second worldview is called transcendentalism, the belief that everything is really spiritual. This worldview is wide open and includes many of the Eastern religions and a lot of what we call New Age beliefs. There's no God out there, rather God is everything. He's not a personal being, but an impersonal force. Like the force of the Star Wars movies, God is a spiritual or psychic power that can be used if we know how to access it. The third and final category of worldviews is called theism, the belief that the universe was brought into existence by a God, a being who can communicate with us and who is intensely interested in us as a people. This worldview is at the heart of the Jewish faith, the Muslim religion, and Christianity. So you must think, these religions must be the same, right? No, not at all. They're about as far apart as you can imagine. In fact, the person of Jesus Christ redefines all of our notions about how we find truth and a life of meaning. The most important attitude to have about worldviews is this: don't find a worldview that fits you. Find the worldview that fits the world. Don't be fooled by imitations. Find truth.